Hey, Pilgrims, Pastor Craig, Horton Congregational Church. Well, we're traveling in New York State out near Rochester, Fairport, visiting some friends of ours. We had a great dinner last night, great discussion about spiritual things in church and a number of issues like that. And I'd noticed as a couple times we were driving back and forth from the hotel to their house that this new construction that's taken place behind me. And then this morning during my devotional time, as I've told you, I'm reading C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity, and I'm down to, I think, the next to last chapter. And in that he makes an illustration that this new construction reminded me of. And what he says is, when we ask Jesus to come into our lives and correct some fault of ours, this is a warning of sorts that he gave. He said, we've got to be careful because Jesus wants all of us. He wants perfection in us. He'll strive for perfection in us. He says at one point, be perfect for I am perfect. C.S. Lewis reminds us of that. And then he goes on with an illustration that says, for instance, if what we do, like this new construction, if what we do is call Jesus in maybe just to do a few home repairs, in other words, we've decided to practice our faith and get a little more religious and clean up our act a little bit. And we want Jesus to help us maybe give up a bad habit, whether that's drinking or smoking or tobacco or cussing or swearing or worrying about our neighbor's possessions, coveting our neighbor's possessions, lust, any of those kinds of things. We want Jesus to cure just one of those things. You know, if I can just increase my faith and clean up my practice a little bit, just to increase or just to clean up that and have Jesus come in and take care of that for me, then I'll be fine. And that's what we ask him to do. But C.S. Lewis goes on and says that's like asking Jesus to come in and maybe just fix the gutters on the house, or maybe just repair a broken window, or even something more minor than that. Maybe we've got a squeaky hinge and we just want Jesus to come in and oil that hinge and get it to quit squeaking. But when Jesus comes into our life, boy, he's got much more planned than that for us. It's like new construction. He wants to build a new house. He wants to maybe add a wing to that house, or put a new roof structure on it, or add an additional bedroom so that you got room for more hospitality. You never know what Jesus has got planned, but what he does have planned for us is phenomenally great things. So when we invite him into our life, as Jesus said, you need to weigh the cost of building that tower, and you need to make sure that you're ready for those changes and that perfection that Jesus is going to push you to, because he may just choose to do some new construction on your life that you never had planned. And that's a great and glorious thing, because we look at what Paul said in Ephesians. Part of the benediction that we find in Ephesians 3 goes like this: to him who is able by the power at work within us to accomplish far more than we can ask or imagine. And that's the excitement of being a Christian, of asking Jesus into our lives, that we may not just end up with new gutters. We may not just end up with a repaired window. We may end up with an entire new building in our lives, that we become something we have never even dreamed or imagined or asked for, because God has that plan of perfection for us. So my prayer for you today is, whatever phase you're in, again, we're visiting friends. We were talking about this last night, about life phases as we go through young parenting years and on up into adulthood and our jobs and our roles in our churches and our communities, and on into retirement like Lori and me. And what is it that Jesus is calling us to do? Well, he's still working on that house. God's still working on me, and I know he's still working on you. And pray for that indwelling of the Holy Spirit, and be prepared for some new construction, that we might become what he has imagined us to be. Perfect in his love. God bless you. Safe travels. Take care.